And the idea was to have this lift up a corpse out of the coffin that I have. I picked the 3/4 model. They have different sizes. The most frustrating thing is the end of this. Welcome back to another episode of Montclair's Lair. Last time you saw me make this homemade solenoid and this air cylinder out of a screen door closer. So what I need to do now is actually apply this to something. And the idea was to have this lift up a corpse out of the coffin that I have. It's not going to actually pop the top open. We're going to have the top open all the time. It's sort of like a wake scene. It'll come up and then the head will turn right at the last second. I'm probably going to do that with some wires. But this is my first foray into pneumatics, and kind of having a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around exactly where I put this thing. I've seen several different ways of doing this, and some of them involve connecting the cylinder pretty much right to the almost the same point as the thing you're lifting, and as the cylinder pushes up, the whole mechanism comes up like this and then lays back down. I don't know, I may go that way. The only problem I'm having is with this damn hose, because I couldn't get the elbow connection that I wanted, so it means I'm going to have to mount this up here pretty high. Something like that. You can see the bend there. It's causing me a problem. The other idea I had was just to have this mounted on this board and have this push up against this. This will be on some kind of a fulcrum here. And have this push out and then push this up so that the prop stands up. I'll have a 7.5-inch throw out of this thing, which is pretty huge. And I don't think I need all that much to get this thing to stand up. I mean, how much do I really need to push on this to make it stand up? Of course, there's also an issue of, it's hard to see from that angle, so I'll do it this way. If this is the pivot point, if the thing is connected here, this has to be able to move down with that. See? That kind of a deal. So this has to be on a pivot point too. 7.5 inches is really long. I don't know. I guess I need to do some mathematics and figure that stuff out. I'm sure pi is involved in this somewhere. Something to do with the radius of a circle, right? Whatever that distance is from there to there. It's been a long time since I've been in school, and mathematics never was my strong point, even though I am a programmer by trade. Kind of just want to wing it and forget the mathematics. I bought this straight bar here that it's not threaded, and this nylon spacer. It may be overkill, but I kind of wanted it to be somewhat reliable. Was to take this rod, which this fits on perfectly, not a lot of play there, and then drill a hole the same size as this, or diameter, excuse me, put this in there, and then have this go in there, and then we can just I can just bend the ends of this down around it so that the spacer can't get off. That's one way of maybe doing it. I've got some threaded rod here too that I could also use. It's not quite the same size. It's a little bit more play on there, but with this I could put a couple of nuts on it. So I may end up using this instead. I'd rather go the easiest way, which is probably just connecting this thing to here, and connecting this to here. And then as this pushes out with both of these things connected, that will cause this whole thing to raise up. So I've got these couple of pieces of flat aluminum that I turned into L brackets. You can buy this flat aluminum stock at Home Depot, Lowe's, any really hardware store. They all seem to have them. I'm going to drill a couple holes in this, and that'll help me determine, or at least test out, different mounting positions for this to see what I need to do as far as where that needs to be positioned. So at least do that much. Perfect. Alright, after a little coaxing, I was able to get this bushing in there. Make a nice tight rotation point here for this thing. That is actually a little nicer. That's good and tight on there. Nice. So just use my grinding wheel. You can hear it winding down in the background. Just to sever this thing and ground it down to a nice little point, and hopefully the nut will fit on there without a lot of nonsense. And it does. Perfect. I wonder if I should put some washers in between here. This doesn't really have to pivot, so we don't care. Maybe a couple of lock washers. And then I think I'll put a couple of more lock washers, followed by a couple of more nuts. Good thing about aluminum. Excellent. I got 7.5 inches here. I certainly don't have 7.5 inches of travel there. This is just going to push. I only need to come out this little tiny bit. I could have done this with a little actuator. So if I go on the opposite side, I'm assuming that's all the way extended as that retracts. I will have to fold down there, which I could do. I could shoot out and then stop. To get this thing to rise up vertically with the air cylinder, got to figure out where to mount this thing and what type of an angle I need and whatnot. So off camera, I've done a little measuring and testing to try to see where to get this thing, and right around here somewhere is going to be the right point, and that's going to let me retract this thing all the way down to this level here. I'm going to want to mount the cylinder on this side, and I'm going to do that with a couple of L brackets right on this line, and then I'll mount that through these holes. And then this will just have to pivot up just a little bit like this to reach the desired location, and that won't put too much stress on the hose back here. Of course, the head is going to be up here, so I'll have to tack that down somehow and get it out of the way of the rest of the prop. This board is going to be sitting inside the coffin, and we'll dress it up with some fabric or whatever as much as we can, but the body will be hiding most of it. What I plan on doing with the body is I'm going to cut this off right after the point where I attach the cylinder, which is going to be right about here. And I'm going to do it with this threaded rod, and then right after the mounting point, I'm going to cut this PVC, and then like in the Shiatsu Zombie Groom, the guy who's got the arms that go like this back and forth, I had a 3/4 inch pipe coming into a 3/4 inch coupler, straight through coupler, and then on top of that I had 1.5 inch T that rested right on that coupler. It was a really nice fit, good rotational thing. So what I want to try to do is have this thing pop up, have all that rotational stuff set up, and then on the T I'm going to have a couple of wires, one going down here, one going up here, maybe through eye hooks down the body so it's not so noticeable, so that when the thing raises up, we'll get tension right near the end here. This will get tight. This rope, just imagine a piece of string here, and it's all loose, and as soon as this raises up, this gets tight, and the body will rotate and look at the people that are facing the coffin this direction, just like I'm standing. So the whole thing will rotate and look at the person. And if I do it right, Another really interesting idea I thought was maybe having jointed arms here that could raise up as the thing turns. So that, and then go back down. So as this comes up, this whole thing turns, and then with more string or wire or something, I can run a couple of wires up over the shoulders here and run those to the ends of the arm and maybe down eye hooks or whatever, and that will pull up on this to raise the arms up. I don't know. It's pretty elaborate. But if you've been watching my vlogs, nothing's ever simple. I think I'll make the attachment through here first, or the hole anyway, so I know exactly where I need to position the cylinder at the base. That's where I'm going, straight through here. So here's the final product down at this end. A couple of L brackets, that straight through rod, lock washers with nuts, and a couple of washers inside there, and that's what we need. If I find that this is a problem, because these are only 1 screw L brackets, which are kind of crappy, I'll put a little piece of wood or something back here, or maybe get some L brackets, but so that when this pushes up, it doesn't push these L brackets out of position. So on the connection up here, I have a nut which is loose, and I'm going to have to add another nut behind it with a lock washer. Same thing over here, this one's coming loose. So I'll tighten those up with another nut and lock washer. Then just like I've got here, a nut, lock washer, nut, washer. And the air cylinder, same thing on the other side, washer, nut, lock washer, nut. But we're actually ready for a test. And I have my helper.
Hi.
This is a 3-gallon compressor, and I've got the PSI set to, well, 45. And we're gonna go ahead and do that. My helper's going to do it. So it works. What I think I'm going to do too is put a little bit of padding on top of this
You want me to put this up?
cylinder right there. No, just a little piece of something right there. So that when that goes back down, it doesn't slam on there. Hit it. Excellent. So somebody was asking me, that's enough, if this thing was silent. It was in the comments of the last video, and you can hear the air. But, you know, you can position this thing wherever you want. You can put this far away from the prop. It doesn't have to be this close. I just got a short hose because I'm going to throw this down at the other end of the coffin down there. So, for the most part, it's silent. Let's have one more test, just to make sure. There you go. Fine. Yep. Okay, and the other thing was somebody asked if I would be controlling this with the 4-banger prop controller, and the answer is yes. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, wire up a button and manually trigger it, although I could. So we do have somebody that stands out here and greets people. Just to be on the safe side, it's possible. I could also do a floor mat, or when they step on it, the thing pops up. So that's another option. But yeah, the 4-banger will be controlling that and giving us all the sounds and everything. So there you go. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You'll get notifications when I put out future videos. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Found it. It's like high school days.
Oh, look, tall and skinny.
We just picked this up at a store. I guess we are technically opening a consignment shop.
Like an artisan gift shop.
And this came out of it. They're remodeling it, so we grabbed it. It's a big piece of plexiglass mirror. It's huge. So we're gonna do something with that. So anyway, but that is a massive mirror.